Okay, so tonight we're going to be learning about Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so this is so it's so awesome to be able to really connect with Rosh Hashanah. It's really to get into the mentality of how we're supposed to be feeling to Rosh Hashanah. And I can tell you that on a personal level, so I've had a certain evolution that I went through over the course of my life, how to relate to Rosh Hashanah. When I was growing up, so it was more of just like a family holiday, and it was a time like dip the apple and the honey, and there was like it was a time of just like having we had nice meals, and sometimes we get together with family, and that was basically it. And then I got more religious at some point and found out that this whole thing that they had been hiding from me, that Rosh Hashanah is the day of judgment. And so when I learned it's the day of judgment, so then what to mean it's the day of judgment? It means like this is not a happy day. This is a very serious day. It's those like secular people. They're the ones that think that this is a holiday. This is not. And then then I had this time of this is I remember could be that this part of me was actually attracted to this attention, anxiety-based Judaism, but there was this time that it was really that I was looking at Rosh Hashanah as a time that you need to be at your best. You have to be perfect. I remember even when I first got to yeshiva, the truth is that there was this idea that you have to be perfect on Rosh Hashanah because everything counts and everything matters and of course everything matters, but there was this unnatural expectation to be perfect, which is actually impossible because how could you be perfect? So I had this friend that was so anxious about doing something wrong, so he did a ta'anit dibur. He wouldn't talk for the whole 48 hours, only daven, and so of course that meant that the meals he was just in solitary confinement for just he was and I couldn't even write, he's really stuck, and so and I remember thinking to myself I needed something from him and he couldn't answer me, and I was do you really think this is what Hashem wants from you? This is it's a messed up, and it's coming from this place because if you're going to talk, so you might speak Lashon Hara, and oh my gosh, on Rosh Hashanah to speak Lashon Hara, how could you do that? And so there's a story with the Baal Shem Tov that you have to take it with a grain of salt, but because you could really take this to the wrong place. But the story with the Baal Shem Tov, that the Baal Shem Tov apparently he wanted to know who was going to be his neighbor in Gan Eden and who was going to be his neighbor in Gehenna. Okay, so no, everybody goes to Gehenna a little bit. Except some people. So it says people who are in abusive relationships. It says that they go free. They get scarred. Anyway, but so everybody goes to Gehenna a little bit. So Baal Shem Tov was who's going to be my neighbor in Gan Eden, who's going to be my neighbor in Gehenna, and so Hashem told him that this is going to be this guy is your neighbor in Gan Eden, this guy is your neighbor in Gehenna. So he wanted to meet these guys. So to figure out what's who am I going to spend all eternity with? So first he wants to see the guy that's supposed to be his neighbor in Gan Eden, and he's where is this guy? That's Moshe Chaim, and Moshe Chaim he's not religious at all, and he doesn't daven, doesn't wear kippah, doesn't learn, and he has this tavern that he runs, and then he's waiting for the holiness, maybe he's a hidden tzaddik, when nobody's looking. So then he takes out the Kabbalah books, and then he's whatever, and doesn't seem like it. Seems like he's actually pretty simple and pretty not religious, not connected. And so then he's waiting for Shabbos, Friday night. So then he has this amazing party, and there's music, and there's just mixed dancing, and there's what's going on, and this is so the opposite of what I expected. So after Shabbos, so he says hey, I'm new in town. You live here. Tell me about what's your story. What you do? So he tells him, yeah, I'm a simple guy, and you do anything, any parties? He says, yeah. You have to come every Friday night. We have the party of the century. You have to oh really? That's so cool. What's up with that? So So he says, by the way, are you Jewish? I said, oh my gosh, yes. That's the thing, that I'm Jewish. And my father, so he was a very religious man, and before he passed away, so he made me swear that every Friday night, he told us that Shabbos, it needs to be, I was a little kid, but he told me that Friday night for Jews is the most important day in the world, that you need to celebrate the fact that you're a Jew. So you have to make Shabbos the most holy day in the world. So I don't really know what he meant, but I know that I bring the best DJ and we make Shabbat the holiest day in the world. And so he was a kid when his father passed away, so he didn't really understand what it meant to keep Shabbat. But in the way he understood, he was respecting Shabbat and he was celebrating his Judaism with all his soul, to the point that his entire life was centered around Shabbat, and every bit of his energy was going to celebrating the fact that he's a Jew. And that's how we got to Olam Haba.
This was during the era of the Baal Shem Tov?
Yeah.
So, okay. So what did he, I mean, obviously there's no DJs back then, but what did he do?
How did he break Shabbos? He managed to break Shabbos. Don't worry. It's I'm
just curious.
Where there's a will, there's a well. So then he I used
no, I know. I'm just trying to think
liberty.
what kind of party they had in the turn of the century.
Mm-hmm.
Before DJs were a thing, we used to have that.
So then he wanted to meet the guy who's going to be his neighbor in hell, okay? And turns out this it's a big rabbi. It's a big rabbi, and he's a very anxious person, this rabbi, and he has to tell you, this. You heard about this guy Yankel? Yankel, don't stay away from him. Whoever goes next to him, he has something. You're doing something wrong. He's going to call you out. He doesn't. He's never yet met a person that he didn't notice that they're doing something wrong. So he's observing this guy, and he's just always just calling everybody out, and then it comes Shabbos, and so it turns out this guy on Shabbos, so he doesn't move. He stays in his seat for 25 hours. He doesn't go to shul. He doesn't go, I don't know what he does if he needs the bathroom. But why doesn't he move? Because he's scared that if he walks, he might accidentally step on an ant. So, you're not allowed to kill an ant on Shabbos. So he's scared that, oh my gosh, if I walk, I might kill an ant, and then I'm going to break Shabbos. So he decides, as a stringency, I'm not going to walk. And of course, if any of his kids are moving in a way that's having a little bit too much fun, being a little bit too wild, so he says, ah! And he's everybody is living in fear. And so this is the Baal Shem Tov's neighbor in Gehenna. So this is, so the moral of the story is that a person could look on the outside like they're not following any laws, and really they are closest to Hashem, and they're honoring Hashem with every ounce of their existence. And you have another guy that he looks like he's following every law to the T, and really he's doing the complete opposite of what Hashem wants for him. Okay, so that's why. So in my second stage of Rosh Hashanah. So Rosh Hashanah was a very serious day, and Rosh Hashanah was a day that you need to be extremely, extremely, extremely tense and beating yourself up. And I told you about this. I had this. It was just a guy. There was a guy in the Mir Yeshiva that he was like this kind of tension, fear-based kind of Judaism, and so. So a friend of mine once invited him for a meal on Shabbos, and so before they walked into the house, so he told my friend that, okay, we're going to walk in right now, and I just need to tell you the rules. So we're not Hasidish, so we don't have a separate table for the women, but you need to know that I have a 19-year-old daughter, and if I dare catch you looking at her for even one moment, so I'm going to kick you out of my house that instant. So don't you... I would have liked to run away. This is... I think this guy's actually maybe he's like a hidden cannibal. They're like psycho. This is a kind of like people, like there's people that thrive on this tension, thrive on anxiety, thrive on fear, thrive on just like ooh, and so like to each their own. But the Baal Shem Tov taught us that is the path to hell. Okay, that's not going to get you. That's not going to get you close to God. It's not going to get you where Hashem wants you. So this is clearly. So the purpose of Rosh Hashanah is not that we should be quaking. Right? There's a kind of Christians called Quakers, I believe, that they from the word to quake before the Lord. So the Lord does not want us to quake.
You make good oatmeal.
The word. Right. Yes. So
Israelis call it that too.
Bunker.
Yeah, right?
Mhm.
Like oatmeal's called.
interesting.
Israelis.
I never realized what that meant actually. So Hashem does not want us to quake. Hashem doesn't want us to quake, and the Rabbi Salanter. So he was once walking and down the street and before Rosh Hashanah, and he was huge into bein adam lechaviro, into the importance of interpersonal mitzvot and like respecting every Jew, and like that how like our relationships with the people around us is critical to our service of God. So one day it was before Rosh Hashanah, and he saw a neighbor of his, and he said, "Hey, how's it going?" And the guy was just, because it was before Rosh Hashanah, so he was just like quaking, and he was like, looked at Rabbi Yisrael, he said, and I just kept on walking. And so Rabbi Yisrael said to his student who was next to him that it's just because he has a lot of fear of God, why do I have to suffer? And so what he was trying to say was that that's not called fear of God, right? If just because why should other people have to suffer because you are obsessed with the fear of Rosh Hashanah? Like that if other people are going to be uncomfortable because of your relationship with God, so that's probably not a healthy relationship with God. Right? So basically that a person that's going to be into this like fear-based mentality coming into Rosh Hashanah, so they're doing something very, very, very basically wrong, and there's something very off about their whole connection with Judaism and their whole concept of God, and so it's really worth rethinking like what Rosh Hashanah is all about, if that's not really what it's all about. So the thing is that where does it come from? Where does this mistaken mentality of what Rosh Hashanah is all about, that it's supposed to be this, like they're supposed to be quaking? So where does it all come from? It all comes from the fact that it says in the Mishnah that Rosh Hashanah is a day of judgment. Okay, it's Yom Hadin. Okay, and that's actually true. It's called Yom HaZikaron. It's a day of remembrance. Why is it called Day of Remembrance? Because it's the day that Hashem remembers all of our deeds. So it says that we're actually being judged, and this is in Zechanos, in the second part of the Musaf. So this is what we talk about. We talk about the fact that there's a judgment going on. So it's because of this idea of judgment that these people got this understanding that, whoa, if you're being judged, then you have to like so. So how does the judgment actually come? What's the idea of the judgment on Rosh Hashanah? So to understand this, we have to really go into the very roots of what Rosh Hashanah is all about, and ask ourselves, what is the historical basis of Rosh Hashanah? What happened on the first Rosh Hashanah? So what actually happened on the first Rosh Hashanah is that this is the day that Adam and Eve were created. Okay? So the thing of what we're commemorating is the creation of man. Okay? This is the day that Hashem said, "Let us make man," okay? And He created Adam and Chava. So there's an idea in Hasidus that everything in the Jewish calendar, so there's a certain energy that comes back into the world every time this particular date comes around. Okay? Meaning that there's no such thing in Judaism as Memorial Days, where there's no holidays that we are celebrating the past. Every single holiday that we celebrate, we're celebrating the present. Because the past creates a present. Okay, what does that mean? That if once upon a time, so there was a certain redemption from slavery on a certain day, so every time we're going to come back to that day in the year, so then there's a certain energy in the world of freedom, of redemption. Okay, that's what we're able to tap into. And if once upon a time there was a certain day in the year that we received the Torah, so then every time we go back to that date, so then there's a certain energy in the air of connecting to the Torah. Okay, so that's exactly what's happening on Rosh Hashanah, so that there's a certain energy in the air of creation. And so what's actually happening? So in Chassidus it says that actually what's really happening every Rosh Hashanah is we are being recreated. Or in other words, it sounds pretty spooky, but that every year we only have another year of life. And comes Rosh Hashanah, we're actually like out of life, and it's on Rosh Hashanah that God gives us another injection of a year of life. Okay? It is getting very hot, right? Should we turn on the air conditioner again? Huh?
I'm good. I don't know.
Yeah, everyone's okay? Okay, everyone's okay. So every Rosh Hashanah, we're getting another year of life. Okay, we're actually receiving a year of life, and so that's why we're celebrating. Like we're actually on a very basic level, we're making like a celebration of the new year. Like it's so deep that like it's so deep, it's so simple, but so profound that we're celebrating the fact that we have a new year. That like the old year is gone, and we just received a new year. It's like, wow, thank you Hashem. Here's to a new year. It's like we're receiving a new year. It's the most amazing thing. We're being created. Like if you would be created, you would just like, oh, I'm alive. I'm alive. I have another year to live. That's a reason to celebrate. That's mamish. That is that is the celebration of Rosh Hashanah that we're having every year. So that's why Rosh Hashanah is really a day. It's really a day of beginnings. Okay, this is like Rabbi Nachman was obsessed with Rosh Hashanah, right?
Mm-hmm.
He said he told people Rosh Hashanah shali ola al hakol. My Rosh Hashanah with me is more important than anything. Okay, he told. Now the truth is that a lot of people go to Uman for Rosh Hashanah, and I don't know what the source is to go to Rabbi Nachman's kever after he's dead, because during his lifetime he told his students that it's very important that you should be with me for Rosh Hashanah. After he died, he said that after I die, you should come to my grave, and you should say the Tikkun Klali, whatever. He did say that. He never ever said, after I die, you should always spend Rosh Hashanah with me. That he never said. Okay, so I'm not, that's a question mark. So I don't do that. Other people say that even if he did mean that, but he certainly didn't mean to come from Israel to whatever. Okay, so I think people like it. They like to have a little freedom. I don't know, but no, they say it's an amazing thing. But I don't personally do it. But he was, during his lifetime, he was absolutely obsessed with Rosh Hashanah. So somebody asked me well, why? Why was Rosh Hashanah? He told me Rosh Hashanah is my thing. Rosh Hashanah is my thing. So I was wondering why of all the holidays did he connect with Rosh Hashanah the most? And what I really think is that the reason why he connected with Rosh Hashanah more than any other holiday is because the theme of Rosh Hashanah is starting again, and that was his thing. That was that it doesn't matter how many times you fail, it doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. That he was like, he writes in Shif Chiran that sometimes he would make a certain commitment one day that that said today I'm gonna not get angry, and then like today I'm really not gonna get angry, and then like 5 minutes later, he would get angry, and then he would say, okay, it's okay, that today, now for real, I'm not gonna get angry, and then 5 minutes later he would get angry again,
Do you have any mental problems?
and then 5 minutes later he told himself that like that's it, I'm really not going to get angry, and then again he would, and then sometimes he says 50 times in one day he would make a commitment, and he would break his commitment, and then after 50 times he would tell himself, okay, now for real, and the 51st time, so it actually worked. Like eventually he actually overcame all of his issues, all of his problems. Why? Because he never gave up, because he was constantly able to start again, because he was constantly able to say, it doesn't matter what my past is irrelevant. Today is a new day, today is a new hour, today's, like there's one day at a time in AA. So like a lot of my students say that like one day is too much. That we need 5 minutes at a time. 5 minutes, and the ability to constantly start, the ability to just ignore what happened until now, to just like I'm just resetting. I'm constantly resetting. That's what he lived for. He lived for resetting. He lived for just starting again. And Rosh Hashanah is a holiday of starting again. So it's I really think that's why he loved the vibe of just like last year it doesn't matter. Like I think I told you last year that one of these classes I said that on your 119th birthday, so you better say that this year is going to be different. It's like you never give up until you're dead. It's not over, right? It's never too late. I read about this person that converted to Judaism at the age of 102. It's never too late, So Ibn Nachman.
You got
What?
You got to Brit Milah?
Of course. Yeah.
Whoa.
Right. Mm-hmm. So this is why I think Rabbi Nachman was obsessed with Hashanah, because Rosh Hashanah is a holiday which is all about resetting, which is all about starting again. And there's a very amazing thing that in the getting back to the judgment, that if the judgment would be the way that the simple way understanding that it's like we're judging you, were you a good boy this year, or we were so then it would make much more sense to make the judgment on the last day of the year, right? So what is Hashem doing by making the judgment on the first day of the year?
He's allowing you to start fresh.
He's telling you to start fresh, and he's telling you that my judgment is I'm judging you based on where are you today. That where would you like to be? Okay, so these days like before Hashanah, what are we really doing? We're writing our script for the next year. We're setting the tone. Like where would I like to be? How would I like to present myself in this coming year? And who is the new and improved me? Let's figure it out. Let's I refuse to accept that the next year of me is the last year's me, and I'm ready. I'm ready for something new and exciting. I'm ready to be a brand new person. I'm gonna dye my hair blue.
So you're judged how you are on that day with you're judged on your intentions for the next year?
Exactly.
So you're not actually judged on
Exactly.
the previous year?
You're not being judged on the previous year.
So
The judgment
you should
is-
be more serious on that day, or careful.
It's not about it's about who you want to be. It's not about being stressed about oh my gosh, you're judging me. It's let's become the better version of me.
Yeah, but what if you've been working on that the whole year before? Stop and say 100 seconds in one day.
What do you mean?
That's what you said, It only counts on the day when you do the year before doesn't count.
I didn't say that doesn't count. I said that you're not being judged on how you acted the past year. You're judged on the what you plan to be.
From the past year.
No, what you plan to be in the next year. The way you show up Rosh Hashanah, that's how you're judged.
But can you make a correlation between your plans to what you want to become with what you've been trying to work on?
Like if last year I was trying to be good and then I gave up and then I come up to Rosh Hashanah and said, that's it, I'm done with this. So then you lost.
Okay.
You're
So what's the zikaron?
Right, the zikaron is who you are, that we are being remembered. Hashem is looking at us, and He's looking deep into who we really are, the way we present ourselves, the way we're showing up, and that He is remembering us and creating us based on that, the way we present ourselves. Okay, so that
It's hard to celebrate a new year of life if you don't know that you're for sure gonna get another year of life. Like you're assuming that you'll feel that for another year.
I think most people. I mean, are you speaking about somebody who's like seriously ill?
No, speaking for myself, for anyone. Like you just
Yeah, it says
don't.
in
You
the
don't know
tefillah
if
who's
you're
gonna
gonna live.
live forever.
I mean, I don't think that that's sort of precisely what I'm saying. That I think that the chances are statistically that you're going to live this coming year. A person that's going to try to get
Statistics.
what? You don't believe in statistics? Okay, right. And Hashem can really kill you tomorrow. He can kill you. In fact, He can kill you now. You know, like maybe who knows? You're going to make it to the end of this class.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's freak out, huh? Right?
Are you saying like you wouldn't take it for
Yeah.
granted
Yeah.
that you have the whole year ahead of you, like just because you're alive on Rosh Hashanah?
Yeah, I think I got a little confused. I don't think that's exactly what you're saying. I think you're saying we should appreciate the fact that we are created.
We should celebrate the fact we're being created. That
Yeah.
you should absolutely assume. You should absolutely assume that you're being created, that you have another year of life. And anybody that goes into Rosh Hashanah saying, "Oh no, maybe I'm going to die," maybe they're missing the point. Rosh Hashanah is supposed to be a day of celebrating a new year of life. So can you think of anything which is more antithetical to celebrating a new year of life than saying, "Please don't kill me"?
It's a possibility.
You've been listening to too many Musar schmoozes. Like
Why is it a bad thing?
It's a bad thing because it's the opposite of what Rosh Hashanah is all about.
You're celebrating the time that you have. You just don't know how much time you have.
You have many years. That's not even the purpose of Rosh Hashanah. The purpose.
I think it's to celebrate the time you do have alive. You could die in 3 days, but those 3 days you could, I don't know, theoretically accomplish a lot.
How did this class get so morbid? that everyone here.
Well, it says it in the Tefillah in Rosh
everyone-
Hashanah, Hu by mi be'esh and mi by-
I know.
If you know your days are limited,
Like it's
you'll
right there in the
definitely use
Tefillah. It's
them,
pretty.
you know, purposefully.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're like going.
So you
into
like
the new
this?
year
So you like this fear-induced?
I'm not so afraid of it.
Not so afraid of dying because you've made peace with dying.
Yeah. I think yeah. So that sounds very
Maybe we're
suicidal.
Maybe
I'm
we're
ready
hung up
for
on the
my
fact that
72
like
version.
we're talking about the whole year ahead, like when we can't take it as a given. Where
I
like,
think
we're on Rosh
I
Hashanah.
think you're supposed to take it as a given that you're going to live an entire year, and you should celebrate the fact that you just received an entire year. Okay? I think that anybody that tells you that a person should go into Rosh Hashanah, oh my gosh, maybe I'm going to die, so they're messing up your Rosh Hashanah. That's not the mentality that Hashem wants you to have. Okay? And even if it might inspire you to have a little bit of more kavanah in your davening, the loss is greater than the gain. Because the gain is that you have a little bit more kavanah, but the loss is that you completely missed the point of Rosh Hashanah.
Okay, but I have to ask.
I just don't see how it.
I have to ask, if that's true, one of the main tefillot of Rosh Hashanah specifically talks about the potential of dying all these horrible deaths.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you square the two?
Okay, I'll tell you what you're talking about. The tefillah that David is talking about is the prayer called Hashanah Tekef. Okay? I believe that Sfaradim don't say it in the first place. Okay? And what's the story of Nisan Tekef? Nisan Tekef was a piece of the prayer which was added in the times of the Gaonim, which is post-Talmud, okay? Which means that it's a relatively new prayer. The story of Nisan Tekef is that there was a certain rabbi, his name was Rabbi Amnon. And Rabbi Amnon, so there was a certain Christian neighbor of his, some bishop or something, that he was always trying to convince him to become Christian. And of course, Rabbi Amnon, as a devoted Jew, would always say, "Screw on, get a life. I'm Jewish, and so he was like, he devised ways to try to convince them. Come on, just think about it. Just sit with me. Just like what's gonna hurt to talk? What, you're scared? What? So he said. And one day, I don't know, he was tired, or he was just like not in a good mood, or was just like not thinking. And instead of just telling him to get a life, he told him, you know what? I'll get back to you in 3 days. I'll get back to you in 3 days. And so obviously that was his way of saying, just go away. But after he realized that by saying, come back in 3 days, so he realized that he actually, the way he said it, made it sound like he's actually on the fence, that maybe there is truth to Christianity. And so when he realized the severity of what he had said, so he was just broken. And 3 days came, and he called for him, to the bishop called for him, and he didn't come. And when he didn't come, so he told the ruler of the place, the minister, that I called this rabbi to come, and he didn't come. And so the minister told him, hey, the bishop told you have to come, And so he didn't come. He still didn't come. And so he said, and so he came over to the minister came over to the guy, and he said, is it true that you told the bishop that you would come and you didn't come? So he's yes. So he said, then you deserve, then I need that you deserve that I should chop off your legs, because you told them that you would come and you didn't come, and your legs didn't do what they were supposed to do. And so he said, no, my legs did fine. You should chop off my tongue, because my tongue acted improperly. And so the minister was very excited, and he said, yeah, that's a good idea. I think I'll chop off your tongue and I'll chop off your legs. And so he chopped off his tongue, he chopped off his legs, and he chopped off his arms, and he was sitting there, and he was dying, and it was Rosh Hashanah when he was dying from being chopped up by the minister, and he asked his family to do him a favor, that before he actually passes, to put him on the table and put his chopped off arms and legs next to his body, and to carry him into the shul. And when it came time for Kedusha, so he told them to be quiet, and he started talking about the judgment of Rosh Hashanah.
Wait, how did he talk?
I guess it's only part of the tongue.
Okay.
And he was able to, and this is the prayer that he composed right before Kedusha, on that last Rosh Hashanah of his life. Okay, so that's the story of the Nisan Tokef. That's how the Nisan Tokef got into the Ashkenazi siddurs. So what's my point? What's my point? That it's. I understand how the people that put into the siddur, they thought that it was a very awesome occasion when to be in the shul when Rabbi Amnon was dying, and he was giving this idea of the judgment of Rosh Hashanah. So they wanted to make some recognition, to give some legacy to the death of Rabbi Amnon, but that doesn't necessarily give a true, objective look on the way that Rosh Hashanah is supposed to look. That from his perspective, that he was dying and he was very strict. And you see that he was also from this mentality of, yes, you deserve to chop off my lips, my lips, and like that he was this kind of mentality, and they gave respect to him because he actually died and he wanted to do this Kiddush Hashem. But that doesn't necessarily reflect on the essence of the day. Fair? Mm-hmm. Okay. So Rosh Hashanah is actually a day of creation. It's a day of creation, and it's an opportunity for us to restart, and it's opportunity for us to make a new and improved version of ourselves, and we're being judged based on that. Now how does the judgment? The question is, how does the judgment connect with the creation? So, like, why, like, if it's a day of creation, why does Hashem have to mix the judgment with the creation? Why should there? Why can't he find a different day? Like Yom Kippur, he could judge us, right? Today, let's just celebrate that we're alive. Let's just celebrate that it sounds awesome, right? A new life, a new year of life. So there's a very amazing thing that says in the Midrash that when on this very first Rosh Hashanah, on the day that Adam was created, so when Hashem created the world, when Hashem created man, so he says, Na'asa Adam, let us make man. So there's a problem with this verse, obviously. That, why does it say us? There's only one God. And in fact, it says that when they wrote the Septuagint, so they switched this. That it shouldn't sound like there's more than one God. Okay? So the Midrash says, well, why is actually Hashem talking plural if there's only one? So the Midrash says that the reason why it says plural is because he was taking advice with the angels. He asked the angels, what do you say? Should I make man or not? Okay? And so the Midrash actually reports that it was a whole conversation. It says that there was a whole dispute. There was a whole dispute in heaven. Should God create man? Should God not create man? So first truth got up. Truth said you should not make man, because man is full of lies. It's the biggest, constantly answer politicians. We just say whatever is useful at the moment. That's what we like to say. And then kindness got up. Chesed. Chesed said yibareh. Chesed said yibareh, that you should make him, because man likes to do kindness. Man likes to do acts of kindness. And then peace got up. And peace said, don't do it. Man loves people. They love getting into fights. They're always getting into fights. And then justice got up. And justice says, yes, you should create man, because man is searching for justice. Man likes to act justly. So it was a stalemate. It was 2 against 2. That truth and peace said not to create, and kindness and justice said that you should create. So what did he do? So it says a very interesting thing. It says that he took truth, and he threw it down onto the land. And then there was a new truth that sprouted from the land, emet me'eretz titzmach, and there was like a new kind of a truth that came that was fitting with mankind. Yeah, that's a different discussion. Like there's 2 levels of truth. There's an objective truth, there's a godly truth, and then there's a more relatable truth. Okay, that's for a different discussion. But the point is that at the end of the day, so it was 2 against 1, so Hashem decided to create us, as obviously we know, because that's why we're here. And so what do we see? That the way that God created man on this very first day was actually by judging, by having that weighing the sides. Does it make sense to create him? Does it not make sense to create him? So because the way that God created man on the very first creation was a creation through a judgment, so that's why when he's relating back to that first creation and he's recreating us every Rosh Hashanah, so just like that first Rosh Hashanah, he created through a judgment. So that's why the creation, the way that he's creating us, is also through a judgment. So that's how this day of creation evolved into a day of judgment. But the point is not the judgment. The purpose of the judgment is in order to create us. Okay? So the purpose of Rosh Hashanah is to show up to Rosh Hashanah as the best version of ourselves, as the new and improved version of ourselves, as the next year, as how I would like myself to look in this next chapter of my life. And based on how I present myself on this next chapter of my life, that's how God is going to judge me, i.e. create me. Okay? Because I'm going to show up as a person that deserves to be created, because I have good plans. Okay? And so I'm, on a deeper level, I'm not just celebrating that I'm alive for another year. I'm actually celebrating the new and improved me. I'm celebrating the fact that now, that, it's an amazing thing that there's something so comforting in the fact that we're actually recreated every year. Because if it would just be a continuum, if it would just be the fact that we're alive today is the same reason that I was alive yesterday, so then it would actually make sense that I pretty much am who I am. Whereas if I'm getting a new life, so then I'm actually, there's a brand new me. I have a brand new soul. There's a brand new energy that, and this, the truth is that there's so, like, who we are and how we experience life is so much, like, dependent on our mentality. It's so much dependent on our state of mind that's what it means. Like, the energy inside of us, the basic building block of everything we do, it's all in our consciousness. And so, like, I really believe that the consciousness that we experience, through which we experience life, that is the life that we received on Rosh Hashanah. Like, you can have like, you ever notice that, like, it's like, just like, sometimes you're just like, you're just sluggish, you're tired, you're like, and then like somebody tells you something, and because the way you think changed, suddenly your body has energy. It's a weird, and like, you think, like, how did that happen? I was just so tired a second ago. Like, something even without anything, just like our things that, like, things with pain, things with, like, stress, things with anxiety, like so many things that, like, out of nowhere they just go away, and things that we tend to think are objective, are just part of a physical reality. The truth is that it's really not. It's really, like, so much of life is actually in our head, and so that the whole quality of every element of our life is totally dependent on that. That's what I call the life source, and that's what's being given to us. Now, some of it is in our ability to change, but the way that we are experiencing life is totally dependent on the source of our life, which is this chiyus that is being given to us every Hashem.
Can you say it again? Like, the way that would you say your consciousness is?
Yeah, the consciousness that the chiyus, that the life that we're receiving is our consciousness, which is actually the thing that decides the quality of your life in every aspect.
Okay, thank you.
Okay? So this is the celebration of Rosh Hashanah. It's not just that we're celebrating that we're alive for another year. We're celebrating the. Okay, so the celebration of Rosh Hashanah is not just that we're celebrating that we have a new year of life. We're celebrating the fact that we're becoming a new person. Okay, meaning that if our life would actually be just a continuation of what it was last year, so that we would actually be stuck in this, like, in this cycle that we're being put into, like, through this whatever. And the truth is that the fact that there's a Rosh, the fact that there's a beginning to the year, is enabling us to make a stop and make a restart and make a reset. And that is itself is something to celebrate, the fact that we're able to become the new and improved us. Okay, so.
Does it also come with a new purpose? Like, since we're being recreated, are we also being recreated with a new purpose? Absolutely, and it's more that we're finding our new purpose. Like, it's on us to find this new version of ourselves with a new purpose, and that's what we're being created. That's what we're celebrating. What it sounds like is sometimes, like, human beings are put on this earth for either a singular purpose or something greater. And maybe she's asking that, like, if we're created new each year, does that mean greater purpose change or just micro ones? And do they just evolve purposes if there were? What if they were uncompleted, maybe? Is what she's asking. Do they go away? Do they evolve? Do we
get new ones?
I'm sure you get new ones, and I'm sure that the other ones stay, and I'm sure that the bigger and better that you become, the more complex your mission gets, right? And the truth is that the bigger we become, the greater our mission is. There's a crazy story with the Avnei Nezer, that B'Rav Sakhachav, he was the son-in-law of Kotzker Rebbe, and the story goes that one day the Avnei Nezer was extremely sick, and his life was in danger, and so they went into the Kotzker Rebbe to his father-in-law to tell him to daven for his son-in-law, and they say, Rebbe, your son-in-law is very sick, and the Oh, that's okay. And your son-in-law is very sick, and like we need to daven for him. Like he's like, and like it wasn't clear. Like he didn't give a clear answer, and so they said like, Rabbi, like you have to daven for your son-in-law. He's such a big tzaddik. And he said, what? My son-in-law, you think is a tzaddik? And like they were shocked. Like why would he talk like that? And they said, but your son-in-law, he's such a big Talmid Chacham. He's such a Torah sage. He says, you think that's called Torah sage? Like, sorry, my son-in-law is not such a Torah sage. And he said, but your son-in-law, he's such a good davener. So I'm sorry to tell you, my son-in-law, he does not know how to daven. And like they were just like they kept on like trying to say good things about him, and he was like kept on putting them down. It was just the weirdest conversation. Like, what the heck? Like he's dying, and this is the time that you're putting your son-in-law down. And so like they just left. They didn't know what happened. And so a couple of days later, so the Avnei got better. And when he got better, so he asked his students, like, tell me something. Well, like when I was sick, did you ever did you go to my father-in-law? Did you go to my father-in-law? And he said, yeah. And he said, what did he say? And he said that he'll daven. He said, no, really, tell me everything he said. He said, no, I don't know, it was not. No, you need to tell me exactly what my father-in-law said. And so he said, like, Rebbe, like, I don't understand. This is really, really weird. Like, I have no explanation, but if you force me to tell you, I'll tell you what he said. And so he was listening to the story, and he told them that you have no idea. My father-in-law saved my life. That I was already on the other side. And they were judging me, and they were telling me that this guy is over. This guy has fulfilled his mission in life. It's time to go. And when you told my father-in-law that I was sick, so what he was actually doing was he was revealing in me potential that even I didn't know that I had, even in heaven they didn't know that I had. And he saw a deeper mission in me. And because he saw a deeper mission in me that I hadn't yet fulfilled my mission, that is what allowed me to come back into this world.
How could heaven not see your greater potential?
Okay, excellent question. That's just the story. So certainly that the bigger we become, the greater our mission becomes. The greater our mission grows. Okay, so certainly that when we're showing up to Hashanah in our bigger and better self, so then our mission is becoming more complex and more more impressive and more exciting. So the fact that we're able to show up to Hashanah with a new us, with a new life, with the fact that we're becoming something new, that itself is a reason to celebrate. It's not just we're celebrating life; it's the fact that we're celebrating the fact that we are becoming something brand new. Okay. Now the last point is that how does this connect to shofar? Okay, how does this the mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah is the mitzvah of shofar? So how does it connect to the mitzvah of shofar? So the mitzvah of shofar is the one mitzvah that we do with our breath. Okay, there's lots of mitzvahs that we do with words. This is the one mitzvah that we do with our breath. Now, what's unique about breath? So in this first Rosh Hashanah, when Hashem was creating man, so how did Hashem actually create man? So it says that he breathed into Adam the breath of life. He breathed into his nostrils, literally. He breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. So that the way that we're created is through God's breath. Now, parenthetically, that the fact that Hashem is giving us His breath, that means that there's something divine inside of us, right? There's something godly inside of us, and that's our neshama. Our neshama is something which is actually divine. This is called a chelek elokah mima'al, and that's what's being referred to. That's we have something inside of us that we once discussed a different time. That Viktor Frankl, so he found God. He found God through his conscience. That the fact that we're programmed to have this innate sense of right and wrong, so he connected that as being something divine inside of every single human being. So he discovered God inside his soul. Okay, so that's what it means that we have a divine soul, and and our existence, our life, our soul comes through this breath of God. So what's the idea of the shofar? The idea of the shofar is that on this day that God is breathing into us the breath of life. He's giving us a brand new year of existence. So how do we generate that breath of life? So it's mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, that we breathe out our breath to God, and that brings down God's breath into us. Okay? So in other words, what is the shofar? What is the shofar? Is actually a prayer. The shofar is actually that we're breathing out our essence to God. It's on the deepest level. It's God. I want to be created. Okay, and not in the sense that, oh my gosh, maybe I'm going to die, but it's that, God, I'm ready for you to breathe inside to me. That I recognize that my life comes from you. And that's why one of the things about shofar is that it says that the shofar is the way that we coronate the king. And that's why the theme of Rosh Hashanah is all about malchuyot. Okay, and this is the last thing that I want to speak about. That what does it mean, malchuyot? Malchuyot is that accepting Hashem's kingship. So in Kabbalah, when it talks about malchus, so it says an interesting thing, that malchus is that let la migar maklum. That malchus is that it has nothing of itself. It's completely a receiver. Okay, it's a feminine energy. So that's represented by the moon. It's that I just want to take your energy and actualize it. Okay, so this is the seventh sphera is malchus. That's why Rosh Hashanah is in the 7th month. The Tishrei is the 7th month, which is this feminine energy of receiving and actualizing. And so the shofar is this expression of malchus. It's an expression of that I have nothing of myself, that I want to be created. Hashem, please breathe into me the breath of life. And I am looking to you, God, as the source. I'm looking to you as the mission. I'm looking to you as my direction. And as much as I look to your direction, that's how much I deserve to exist. Okay? So this is what the shofar is. That what we should be thinking about when we're hearing the shofar is literally this: that as I'm listening to the shofar, I'm crying out to Hashem that Hashem, I want to live in sync with your will. I recognize that we're here for a reason. I recognize that we're here for a mission. I recognize that we're here to bring out your will into this world, and I realize that you're the source. And so I'm ready. I'm ready for my mission. I'm ready for the life that you have in mind for me. I'm ready for all of the challenges. I'm ready for all of the good stuff. I'm ready for all of the different interactions. I'm ready for all the experiences. I'm ready for having to deal with how I'm going to spend my billions of dollars. I'm ready to deal with how I'm going to deal with my marriage. I'm ready. All of these brachas that are coming down, so that the malchus is that Hashem, I'm ready to live my life that in the best way, which is your will. Okay, so that's on a deeper level. That's when I'm saying like Hashem, I'm ready to be created, which is the prayer of our breath. The prayer of the malchus is that I'm ready for the best possible life, because we know that Hashem has a much better idea of how our life is supposed to be, much greater than our wildest dreams. That whatever we think is like, when we're during these days that we're writing our script of how our life is supposed to be. So like the truth is that Hashem has much better plans for us than we can ever think. So this is that what we're saying when we come to a shofar is that Hashem, that don't confine me to my ideas for myself, that I'm ready for your ideas for me, and I'm ready for an amazing mission. So I bless us all that this Rosh Hashanah, so we should really be able to really internalize, to really live the fact that we're being recreated, to really be able to be ready for something brand new, to really receive a new breath of life in a very real way, and to really to really embrace that next year is going to be something absolutely brand new, and which is exciting, which is just full of blessing, and this should be just a year of blessing for every one of us, every one of the Jewish people. It should be a year of geula, a year of peace, and a year of just really seeing bracha and shafa in every element of life. B'ezrat Hashem.